Yeah, disappointed in the result, particularly when we had major control of the game in between both boxes. To lose 2-0 is obviously disappointing, but I think we had a lot of possession. The game went a lot of the way we wanted it to go, particularly up to the 20th minute or so. The stadium was quiet. We had the ball, and it came down to probably an issue for us recently of if we're not going to be clinical enough, not dynamic enough, not tough enough in the final third, you always have a possibility, particularly with a good team like West Ham, with good individuals, of conceding, and it changes the feeling of the game.
Speak to you at all?
No.
Were you aware that it was about happening?
Yes.
Does that send any confidence?
No, not to me. Whether it should or not, it's not for me to second guess. But I've been asked this question a lot now, and I know there's things going on at the club, so I understand why. But it's never been of a consequence to me whether an owner or a chairman or a board member are at the club at the game. I spent 18 months at Chelsea. They only didn't come to one competitive game. It's not about that for me. So you can read into it what you want, but it's of no. When I say of no concern, I'm not talking away from it. It's not the relevant thing for me.
Obviously, it's the first game you've seen the team play. Do you think he should have seen enough to think, well, things can change? And then after the game, he's been confronted and asked, what about Frank's future? And he said, it's not my decision.
Yeah, I don't know the first part. It's not me to guess what he's thinking about the game, and it's the first I've heard of that quote.
But do you feel like you're moving in the right direction, that you deserve more time?
Well, it'd be hard for me to sit here and say about the right direction in terms of recent results, but I've said it before games recently. We stayed up by the skin of our teeth last year. We were 5 points shy of safety with not many games to go. And people, I said the other day that I think we'll maybe stay where we are or so. And someone sort of give me a second question and went, is that competitive enough talk as such? But for me, if you're in a club where over recent years the club's moved downwards with serious investment, the environment now, the conditions now are that we don't have that investment, and we sold our number 9, and we're trying to rebuild. That doesn't mean that straight away you should start climbing the stairs straight away. It means that you're going to have to dig in as a club, and I'm prepared to dig in. So that's it.
Right, you've done a lot, seen a lot in this game. How unfair is it on you and on David Moyes, the way this game was built, just like lose against the Slack? Do you ever get used to something like that?
Nah, because it comes with the territory. It's very easy. There's two sides for me. Firstly, I think we're very proud and lucky and to have our jobs. There's a lot of perks to our jobs. There's also a lot of sacrifice. And one of the sacrifices that people that are sort of, hidden behind a phone or any kind of outlet can say stuff because it gives them a good feeling. And people like that attention to it. So the less you can hear of that as a manager, or the less it affects you, the better. Because it means nothing. It means nothing. I'm here to do a job, so I'm fine with that. It's the modern day.
Frank, how much impact, or otherwise, maybe none, maybe a lot, but does the so-called civil war between the fans and the board have on you and the players?
Well, it's been interesting for me because I think I would hate to sound like I'm sitting here saying that my job is more difficult than anyone else's, because I think you could speak to any manager in the Premier League or the Championship or Div 1 or Div 2, particularly managers in Div 1 or Div 2 that are dealing with a lot of difficulties in their jobs with minimal budgets or whatever, all those things. I'm not going to cry about my job. So it's challenging, yes, because every job is. Do I try and do my best in every aspect? Yes. I don't feel like it distracts me because my job I have to be the first person that can focus on the job. If you're asking me about the players, then that may be a different question, because I played here as a young boy. I played for England in tough times. It's fortunate at Chelsea there weren't so many, but tough times personally, and I understand the difficulties that this game can give you. And people say just have a tough skin, like you should be fine with it, and it doesn't work that simply. So I understand if the players are affected by it. I also understand the passion of the fans. I also understand that. So I'm not here to tell anyone about the bigger questions that are going on at the moment, because I've been here a year and I try and focus on the football.
Frank, there's a 4 days till the next game. 10 days or so, transfer window left. What needs to happen over that period to give you the chance of helping to take a step forward when the game resume again?
Well, I think the game was maybe a decent example of it today. Not all games are the same, but we need to try and help the squad and bring in players probably at the top end of the pitch to be competitive and to have an instinct and give us more goals. Because I think the league is moving forward and a lot of other teams around us are making those moves. And of course we're working hard to make those moves. It's, I'd hate to sort of sound like I'm saying that nothing's being done. It's not an easy market. Our budget is very different to a lot of the other teams around us. It was last summer, it is now. So I suppose my main focus is to concentrate and work on the players that I've got. And I'm absolutely not hanging anyone out to dry for losing a game at West Ham. When I say we weren't clinical enough in the first half, or today, it's because that's my job to say it and my job to try and coach it. But we want to help the squad.
What would be your priorities at Finch Farm over that period?
In what way?
Like working with the players, you talk about being more clinical and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a coach, in possession, the idea is to try and get your team up and around the final third as much as you can. Today we were there a lot, in that sort of midfield area where it's okay, can we attack the line, can we be dynamic, can we make crosses, can we get on the end of crosses. Those things you can work off in training, ideas of what you want to do, talk about them a lot. But obviously on pitch they need to happen.
In terms of your chance with a couple of sides to bring everybody in?
I have the same question all the time, and I think that you're only close when it's done. So we're not there on anything. All right, cheers.
Right, David was in this talking a lot about the support he's had behind him from the board. It's been helpful to him, he said, to be able to prepare for games like this, knowing that they're fully behind. Do you feel like you've had the same situation at Everton? I have a lot of conversations with the board and the owners. Of course, it's my job, and I'm a manager that tries to keep those communications. I know how important it is as a manager if you don't keep those. It's not my point to divulge them, and I will certainly not use anything like that as an excuse as to why we don't win games.
Okay, folks. Sorry, one last one, Greg.
Right, a little bit of speculation concerning Anthony Gordon and a possible interest in Newcastle again. Obviously didn't come off the bench today. Don't think you can shed light on that?
No.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry, no.